Right, so today we are going to look into the colonization process. So it's like killing two stones with one bird, right? So the broader topic or the umbrella topic is national sovereignty and national history, sovereignty and governance. Because when we are studying heritage, history is also part of the heritage. You get the sense? History is part of the heritage. So you also find out that when you are studying heritage studies, we also delve into subjects like history, like ICT, like geography, and the environment. It's broad. Heritage touches on where the country came from. The history of the country is also very important. So if you are someone who does both the heritage studies and history, then you are what? You are good to go. When we learned during our time, I think I wrote my O-level in 2010. Yes, we didn't have heritage studies as a subject, but due to the fact that it is a combination of what? Of many subjects. That's what motivated and pushed me to teach the subject. So we are going to look at the colonization of Zimbabwe. Number one, tozobata Anglo-Ndebele War. Tobata first Chimurenga. That's the syllabus outline. Then tobata the heroes and the heroines of the first Chimurenga. Then tozobata for the liberation struggle. Liberation struggle ndo yamunenge maudichi second Chimurenga. Yes. So triple colonization, tina about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics. We have to define what colonization is and explain the causes of colonization. Then outline the terms of the Berlin Conference, identify treaties leading to colonization, identify forms of response to colonization. So as of today, we are just going to define what colonization is, and we are also going to explain the causes of the colonization, then to touch on the terms of the Berlin Conference. So Zimbabwe was colonized by the what? By the British. Zimbabwe was colonized by the British in it should be in 1890, but the colonization process started beforehand. So colonization is whereby your country is taken away or is controlled by a foreign country. In simple shona kutore wanyika yenyu has been colonized. Zvangofana kuti vanzwa colonize mabrain zviri kuti vatorwa pfungwa dzako. Munhu akaita zvaanoda nadzo ndio kunonzi colonize. Right. So takatarisa neZimbabwe. What were the reasons for the colonization of Zimbabwe? There are, number one, economic reasons for the colonizations. Then political, then social reasons too. So I will try to explain that in a way which is simple for you to understand. So let's start with the economic reasons. Number one, the need for markets. The whites needed the markets, right? After producing their goods, they needed right? They also needed raw materials for their industries. Because for industries to thrive, you need raw materials, the need for pastures, the need for cheap labor. Because pamuru kucolonize, kamuru tora nyika nevanhu vari munyika imomo. So munenge makutoashandisa kunga vanhu venyu. So the need to invest surplus capital, the need for fertile land, and again, Zimbabwe was not actually colonized by the British in principle. It was colonized by this man called Sojourn Rhodes. He owned a company called the British South African Company. So there were hunters, explorers, and missionaries who marketed about the beauty of Zimbabwe and the richness of the country. So inonzi Bisaki yakatanga kusvikira South Africa. Vayabroka. So pakubroka kwayakaita yakangodzwa kuti kuZimbabwe kwakazara gold nechichi. So it's one of the reasons why they colonized Zimbabwe. The need to bail out the Bisaki out of bankruptcy. Yanga yatodhakwawo Bisaki. So the whites also wanted Ndebele Keto in Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, the favorable climatic conditions. And Zimbabwe, like in Zimbabwe, it's one of the countries that do no experience weather in one country. I know you experience a certain level of Kali to London. In the same country. Zimbabwe is one of the best weathers in the country. That's why it is one of the best tourist destinations in the world, So the whites also wanted that. Rhodes believed that there was a second rand in Zimbabwe. When I'm saying it was a second rand, I'm saying when they discovered gold in South Africa. Gold moves in belts. That's why you find out that in the Midlands, around the Midlands area, there's what we call the Great Dyke. That area is a stretch of mineral deposits, like in that same area. So minerals are found in what we call belts, one matima bandi. So chirova izvo ndikachera panapa, ndikawana gold, there's a high possibility kuti ndikachera Chidai Street nogona futi. Rinofamba nema belts. Ndosaka chinoti vanotochera ndodzi matani waya, vanoti matondera vachipinda basi. Vachitsvaga gold iyo yayo. So vana Rhodes vakatanga kusvikira kuSouth Africa. So pavakasvikira kuSouth Africa vachionera gold kuSouth Africa, vakabva vafunga kuti since Zimbabwe iri padhuze neSouth Africa, handei muZimbabwe tinoriwana futi gold futi. So the discovery of gold and diamond in the Transvaal area made many wise to think that gold built in South Africa stretched into Zimbabwe, right? So there were also political reasons. Rhodes wanted to promote British imperialism, right? Rhodes wanted to prevent other countries from colonizing Zimbabwe because British imperialism built by Britons. Britons, not my Britons, but British. Why told us to colonize? It was part of their what we call imperialistic plans. Like they wanted to exercise authority over countries, over other countries, to show other countries that they were better than them. So Rhodes wanted to prevent other countries from colonizing Zimbabwe. Because the time you meet colonization, and get the time you had to scramble into partition for Africa. I will explain the Berlin Conference. Right. Then Rhodes wanted to stop German expansion from the west. Rhodes was determined to encircle the Transvaal. There were the Boers in the Transvaal area in South Africa. The Boers had a chance to expand. Vanga vaine mukana or room yekuti vaigona kungostretch vachibva muSouth Africa imomo. So Rhodes had to encircle them. Kuvavharira kuti influence yavo ingove limited paTransvaal area. Iye uchitora kwese kuna naZimbabwe kwaaidawo. So Rhodes wanted to prevent the Boers from expanding northwards, and Zimbabwe was colonized for prestige reasons. Because parikuitika scrambled partition of Africa, Britain haisiyo yega ina Zimbabwe. MaPortuguese aitodawo Zimbabwe. Vana Germany vaitodawo Zimbabwe. So Britain yaitoda kutocolonize zvekuratidza dzimwe nyika kuti aiwa iri chibaba dani. Yes. Prestige kudada kwendere kuti prestige it's like kuzvifila so. Again, there was the influence of hunters, traders, explorers, and missionaries, right? Then there was also the Rhodes to Cape to Cairo dream. Rhodes Cape to Cairo dream. The Rhodes Cape to Cairo dream. Rhodes had a dream of building a railway from Cape Town, right, to Cairo. In other words, he was trying to say he wanted to colonize the whole of Africa. Because Cape Town don't know Africa. They don't pay Cairo, Egypt. So it's like the whole of Africa. So again, he also wanted to construct a railway line past Matabeleland. And Rhodes, like I said, believed in what we call British superiority. His purpose was therefore to spread liberty, peace, and justice to other parts of the world. And Zimbabwe was also colonized for strategic reasons. Right. So the social reasons we have here are few. The British wanted to civilize Africans. The British wanted to spread Christianity. Because vakasvika vachiti vanhu munoita zvekupira mudzimu munonamata Satan. They also wanted to spread education, favorable climatic conditions. Yes. Population expansion. Because I was teaching Industrial Revolution in Cambridge. Pakaitika inonzi Industrial Revolution. Kukaita rapid urbanization. Kuti vanhu vazhinji vanga kuwanda mumatowns. So vanga kutocolonize dzimwe nyika kuti vatobvise vanhu ivava vapepe kugara muAfrica. That's how some white people ended up being in Zimbabwe. So those basically are the causes, right? So let us look at the Berlin Conference. So we have to scroll upwards when we are dealing with our notes. Yes. Right, so we have to scroll upwards so that we can deal with the screen point partition. So we are going to look at the terms of the Berlin Conference, right? So the Berlin Conference was in 1884 to 1885. What was it all about? So there was the German Chancellor then, Otto von Bismarck, was the Chancellor, or I would rather say the Prime Minister, in a language you might understand, of Germany from 1871 to 1890. The agenda of the Berlin Conference, or the main point of discussion under the Berlin Conference, was to chart ways of partitioning Africa peacefully. Boza zvakuitika tutaura kuti papa nescramble and partition of Africa. Kachiti scramble and partition, what is a scramble? Toti pane maroad runner ari kufamba tokanda chibage pasi otanga kurwira chijongora chibage. That's what we call a scramble. They are competing for the food. So ndozvo zvakuita chii zvekuti tinogona kutoona imwe huku ichitodya imwe huku ipa ichijombora imwe huku, because the competition. So ndozvaiita nyika idzi pakucolonize chii maAfrican countries. Vanga vakuti vachinetsana vachirwisana ofuchi futi zvafanira kuti muri mbavha munoba pamba mopaza pamba motanga onetsana muringa maratidza kusarongeka mutori pamba ipapo motanga moti aiwa ini ndinoda kutora decoder, moti aiwa ini ndinoda kutora DVD, moti aiwa ini ndinoda kutora wardrobe, motanga onetserana ipapo. So ndozvo zvakuita nyika idzi. So Bismarck ari kuti tiri kumakisa guys, ndaakunyadzisa ngatigarei pasi totaurirana kuti tingacolonize sei nyika idzi pasina kunetsana, because tikaratidza kunetsana pamberi penyika idzi kumakisa big time. So it was held in Berlin in Germany. It was also meant to curb the increasing conflict over colonies. So Africans were not invited. Aiwa pa meeting yekiti kamunganaidzi makonzo hazvimeke sense. So countries which were represented were Britain, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Portugal, and what? And Belgium. So what were the terms of the Berlin Conference? Agreements made at the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885, which speeded up the partition of Southern Africa, right? Africa was divided into 20 spheres of influence. Africa's Mepurajuresin, right? rakabva radamburwa into 20 spheres of influence, and there was to be effective occupational spheres of influence, kuti zvima-20 zvimapatsi izvozvo panofanira kuitwa serious colonization, hapana chinofanira kusara. So nyika inenge yatora, let's say Zimbabwe yatorwa neBritain, Britain yacho inofanira kubva yatotanga kutoita zvinhu zvine musoro munyika imo kutadza kuti yatora. Zvangofana nekuti kana uri murume chinoratidza kuti watora mukadzi, totanga kuona ringi, totanga kuona futi kuti mukadzi wacho ari kuratidza sekuti mukadzi wemunhu arorwa. Bozi pane mukadzi wekuti achifamba murodhi zvinotooneka kuti hataipi yakaroorwa ende murume wacho ari kumuchengeta, like appearance chete. Yes, that's what is being said. Kuti each and every country inenge yacolonizer, it has to be substantiated by marked developments in its sphere of influence. Kana ari marodhi kagadzirwa, kana zviri zvikoro kazvigadzirwa kutadza kuti ipani macolonize, right? So there was also to be freedom of navigation on major rivers like Niger, Zambezi, Nile and Congo. Because pane dzimwe nyika dzakufila like idzo ndidzo dzega dzinocontrola rivers. So zvadzaiwa each and every country, right, must be free to navigate in those rivers. Slave trade and slavery were to be abolished, and they still existed. And there was King Leopold. King Leopold should be from Belgium. Vanga vato occupy Congo again, and the Britain had to occupy Egypt. So you can just say they respect that. And they agreed to notify each other of new spheres of influence. Kuti nyika ikatora a certain country, haifana kunotify vanhu. Kuti guys, pa Namibia payanga yapapa msasa uye ipapo. So any intending country was to sign treaties with the local rulers as legal right to occupy that area. So parliament treaties haifana kusignwa. Because pachabata colonization of Zimbabwe, uchano chabata on rat concession, vana Moffat treaty. But treaties akasignwa like paifanoka paine paperwork or magwaro anoratidza kuti you have colonized this area. Then they were to respect the rights of the indigenous people. They were to develop infrastructure in areas colonized. Those who don't want to colonize. You know. So they were to create new political structures. They were to draw boundaries. They were to settle disputes peacefully. And they were to hoist national flags in the areas colonized. Because we are flag that's why we cannot by independence of Zimbabwe. Takabvisa flag chema British. Tikachipisa tikaisa chedu. Ndizvo zvinoratidza kuti pese every government institution paunoona pane flag zvikuratidza kuti flag inoratidza kuti ndisi tiri kutonga. Flag harisingoridyirana. It's not just a piece of cloth. It is symbolic, and there are colors of that flag which symbolize something. So ukazoona, let's say pa police station kana kuti pa Harare haya pane flag yemuFrance, uri kuti akutongwa neFrance. So kuratidza kuti macolonizer nyika yayenyu munobva maisa chi flag yenyu like vakaisa yawe Union Jack pakopi apo, you know. So ndo yatingangoti ndo scramble and partition of Africa. Takanyanya kubatana nechi ne Berlin Conference, right? So tinogona kuona kuti yakanyatsa kucolonize sei ndizvo. Number one, it legalized the partition of Africa. Kana chiti legalized the partition of Africa tikuti yakanyatsa kuita kuti zvive pamutemo. Because nyika idzi dzairwizirana dzichirwisana stere. So yakaita kuti zvinhu zvive nekaformality nekaorder. So it set the rules for the game of partition. It legitimized the occupation of Southern Africa, and many treaties were signed with African chiefs, leading to the eventual occupation of their territories. Chiefs were even cheated or deceived. Because colonizers aitotsvaka nzira chete dzekuti vaone kuti vangaita sei kana vachiita kubraiba vanhu kubuditsa mari vachiita sei. And European powers committed for unoccupied areas of Southern Africa, And there was also a scramble to define and extend boundaries of existing spheres of influence by the British, Portuguese, Boers, and what? And the Germans. Right. So that's it for today. Yes, so next lesson, we are supposed to look into the treaties leading to the colonization. Yes.